The views and opinions expressed on this program do not reflect the company, owners, management, staff, clients, or partners.
It's Thursday, the 26th day of August, 2021. Welcome to the Daily Hour, brought to you by Medical House, One Communications, and Linda's. I'm Jamal Hartman, along with the Michaela Ian and Leanna Lambert, who will be with us in a bit to bring us the latest in her news break. Happy Thursday, Kels. How you doing?
Happy Thursday. I'm good. I'm so well rested. Yes, I'm good. Red lipstick. I'm in a mood. I'm in a vibe.
You said you're well rested. No lie.
Yes.
And maybe it's because my wife's not here, but for some, I never wake up through the night. But every night since I've been back in the US, I've woken up at.
And you never do? Oh, I wake up every night.
Never. I'm a person. I sleep right through to 5 a.m. usually. But,
I wish. I don't.
Yeah, it's been weird. And I get up, I'm not even sure what to do. So, yeah. Good morning.
So you're not well rested, okay?
No. Good morning to everyone, and thanks for making us part of your daily routine. A good one today as the talented designer Alex Belvedere stops by. I'm a big fan of his. I remember my job created like during the Euros these football jerseys, and I sent them to him. I'm like, what's your thoughts? But I admire the work he's doing, so I'm looking forward because we don't often speak to gentlemen in fashion. And so this should be a real cool conversation with Belvedere, not the chef. We'll make a joke about that when it's on. The Daily Play is a name that place, and folks, we gotta. It's 2 days in a row. We've never had 2 days in a row where we've gotten Michaela, but my friends, it will be 2 days in a row.
I know about all that.
Oh, okay.
I know.
It's a tough one, and she's a very confident information retainer. But look, we have a lot to discuss, and the challenge with this show, folks, the challenge is we have so little time. So trying to figure out what direction we're going to go in terms of conversation. But that said, we did come up with something. And Michaela and I have talked about this on this show on numerous occasions. We've spoken about how things are changing fast as it relates to COVID.
Mm-hmm.
And based on what we're seeing, I remember when I was growing up, right?
Mm-hmm.
People said it's impossible to be a Rasta in Bermuda because to be a Rasta, you need to be away from civilization. And I was like, yeah, Bermuda's like a small little city, right? There's no mountains you can't really be away from.
Right.
That's what people just used to say to me. Well, in order to avoid what seems to be coming down, you're almost going to have to live on a mountain or away from civilization. What do I mean by that? What do I mean by that? Well, Michaela, it's number one, you may have to be self-employed or retired because it seems like so many companies are pretty much cracking down. Either most of them saying, you have to be vaccinated or you have to get tested every 3 days to come to work. Let's an example, Delta Airlines. Did you see the story with Delta Airlines?
I did. And that is an interesting one. Shall we quote directly?
Quote directly, Michaela.
Quote directly. Let's see. This is from Forbes, so we know it is legit. Mm-hmm. Headline: Delta Airlines will charge unvaccinated employees $200 per month more for health insurance, the CEO says. Starting November 1st, Delta Airlines will begin charging employees who are unvaccinated against coronavirus who are enrolled in the company's health plan a $200 monthly surcharge to help it combat costs associated with the spread of COVID-19 among its workforce. CEO Ed Bastian told employees in a Wednesday memo, a pointed move designed to encourage more employees to get vaccinated. And let's be clear, United and Frontier Airlines have already mandated vaccinations for employees. The surcharge is necessary to address the financial risk the decision to not vaccinate is creating for the company, noting that the average hospital stay, this is key, for COVID-19 has cost Delta $40,000 per person.
Wow. I thought you were going to say $40,000 to date.
Obviously. No. Per person. Yeah.
Wow. Well, here's the question of the morning based on that. What are your thoughts on Delta Airlines' $200 surcharge for unvaccinated employees? And keep in mind what Michaela already said. There are airlines, United and Frontier, who have already said that all of their employees need to be fully vaccinated.
Yes.
Right? Now, here's another one on that. So Goldman Sachs, this is according to CNBC, Goldman Sachs to require all people entering its office, all people entering its banks, to be fully vaccinated against COVID-19, right? This is for the US, in the US, right? Those who aren't fully vaccinated by then, and it's September 7th, the policy starts, right? And applies to everybody, including employees and clients, according to a memo that was sent to US workers on Tuesday. Those who aren't fully vaccinated by then will have to work from home, according to a person with the direct memo. Well, I'm sure there's got to be something to that, because I mean, I'd work from home. I'm just saying that's not punishment, right?
Hello.
But anyway, it goes on to say that they're requiring employees be vaccinated to return to offices, similar to Morgan Stanley and Citigroup. Now, this came a day after Pfizer was given FDA approval. Here's my question, right? Because Bermuda's not here yet. And I think Bermudians are over it right now with all the government mandates and laws.
Yes.
But when private companies, and we're not going to name names, but there's only 3 major banks in Bermuda. If private entities and the major grocery chains in Bermuda adopted these same policies, what are you going to do?
Listen, this is the thing. And we always say, when the U.S. sneezes, Bermuda catches a cold. And let's not forget, Delta Airline has an office in Bermuda. Let's not forget that.
Yeah.
Let's not forget that. Yeah. So it's going to be interesting. And it's going to be interesting watching the way the cookie crumbles. Because like we've said repeatedly for months now, this is the way that the world is going. This is just how it is. It just is what it is. So I'm not mad at a $200 surcharge per month for people who choose to be unvaccinated, because let's be real. If you are unvaccinated and you get COVID, especially this Delta variant, your likelihood of becoming sick and requiring a hospital stay is considerably higher than someone who is vaccinated. Yeah. So it goes down to, and we talked about this, people who smoke cigarettes, et cetera, are their insurance higher than people who don't? So it's a similar vein, especially when we have a choice. Obviously, there are those who are medically exempt, right? That's what Leslie White says. It's kind of the same as someone who smokes. So yeah, exactly.
Well, and that's what we were talking about before we came on air, Leslie White. As Leslie White says here, it's kind of the same as someone who smokes or someone who skydives, paying higher life insurance premiums. They're a higher risk. I'm not sure. Can someone tell me if it's like that in Bermuda? But I know that was something that I had learned when I was younger, that people who are at a higher risk, some insurance companies either won't want to take them on or will make the premiums a bit higher. I have my own opinion on insurance. I'll leave it on the side for now. Manuela, John, Michaela.
Do these companies take in consideration that some employees are not able to be vaccinated? I would assume that if you are unable to be vaccinated, that's different than someone who makes a choice not to be vaccinated.
Yeah, Manuela, John, I think I second what Michaela's saying. I learned just yesterday, for instance, that people for certain shows at my job, people will actually, and events, actually have to be vaccinated or present a negative result 72 hours prior to attending. As far as the your question about people not being able to take it for medical reasons or maybe religious, legally, I'm pretty sure every company has already looked into this. And
Yes.
as Michaela said, I don't think it will impact that. I think it's basically people who are making their conscious choice not to do so.
Exactly. And of course, Delta Airlines has taken legal advice. Of course, they've consulted with their lawyers to ensure that this is, legally viable.
Mhm. I mean, I'm gonna probably upset some people, but I actually do disagree with the policy. Uh,
Hmm.
I disagree from this respect. I don't like the squeeze. I think that's what the government of Bermuda is doing. It's a squeeze. And I think when you're trying to squeeze people into doing stuff, you're not being honest and you're not taking enough time to educate the population. So I actually disagree with what Delta Airlines is doing here, right? I
Okay.
disagree with it happening with people who have conditions like cigarettes or skydive. I disagree with it. I would actually appreciate more if they just outright made a decision and gave people, like, say, 3 months or something. Now, I understand the finance situation, but I have an issue with, and maybe we need to have an insurance expert one to change my mind. But I
Hmm.
just don't like the way insurance works, period. I think
Right.
that we talk about so many things wrong in the world. I think that's something that we definitely need to look at. So it's not that I think I'm against I'm all, if people want to get vaccinated. I understand the concerns for people who don't, so who make that choice to say no. And I'll just share some of them. I've said on this show to you, Michaela, on numerous occasions, something in the back of my mind, and again, folks, I've been vaccinated since April. Something in the back of my mind makes me feel uncomfortable with something being free in the United States of America, such as a
Hmm.
vaccine. This country does not care about people's health. They have never
No.
shown that they care about people's health. So that is a concern that stems from that. Why are they so, pumped about getting people vaccinated? The second one, my mom is sick with cancer, right? We've got family members who have, been ill with many things over the years, right? And so personally, I'm like, well, why could they stop this so fast? But for years, all they've been doing is creating treatments and not cures or vaccines for certain things like this. So I do have my concerns. So I completely understand. I completely understand people who have issues with this kind of stuff. That said, I believe that the education part,
Hmm.
the government of Bermuda has failed in it. And I
Hmm.
don't know the policies of Delta. But I think maybe if they haven't, they should do more to educate their employees rather than squeeze them into saying, you know what, if you don't get it, this is what you're going to do.
So I'm going to say this, right? When we talk about insurance, I, as a relatively healthy person, get very angry that my insurance has to go up every year because people make choices not to be healthy.
Mhm,
Okay. I get very upset. I pay a lot of money for insurance because I pay for top dollar insurance for me and my children. Okay. So for me, I get very angry. There are people, Bermuda's cost of insurance is stupid. It's
mhm.
stupid high because our population is not healthy. We eat a
Yeah.
lot of crap. Diabetes is off the charts. People smoke, people drink. It's just a mess. And so most relatively healthy people get upset. So in a situation like this, when you are making a choice not
Mhm.
to protect your health, why do I have to pay for that?
Got you. Yeah.
Why do I have to pay for that? Why do my children have to pay for that? You know what I mean? So that is what frustrates me. And when you look at a company like Delta, which is a company where obviously they're pilots, there's flight attendants, etc., they're in the travel business, they're in the safety business. I highly doubt that an organization like Delta Airlines is not thoroughly educating its staff on vaccinations. Delta has been the model airline during the pandemic. They were the only airline to clear the middle seat
Mhm.
and take a L in terms of revenues and all of that. So I highly doubt that Delta Airlines is going to be a company who's like, you need to get vaccinated, and I'm not going to tell you why. Also, it should be noted that this policy rolls out November 1st. So
Mhm.
people do have a full 2+ months to sort their stuff out.
Mhm.
But when we're talking about insurance, miss me with, oh, I don't want to get vaccinated and I'm going to end up in hospital and my insurance is going to drive up. And the healthy person over there who decided to get vaccinated is not doing all this stuff. And then now they got to pay more. I don't like that.
No, I got you. And I hear you. And, that's the downside of it, right? Sheree Bill says smokers don't pay higher health insurance, as far as I know, at least not on employee group plans. Folks, what are your thoughts? What are your thoughts on Delta Airlines $200 surcharge for unvaccinated employees? And I guess I can extend the question, Michaela, to what we discussed earlier. Let's go through some comments and extend the question to, again, Goldman Sachs is basically saying anyone who visits their U.S. offices has to be vaccinated, right? What are your thoughts? I mean, this hasn't happened in Bermuda, but again, as we keep saying, whatever happens in the U.S., they sneeze, Bermuda catches a cold, it usually latches on. So what are you prepared to do if you're unvaccinated, if this does indeed start happening? Laverna Mendichelli, Michaela.
I think it's their right. There's a high cost to cover costs when someone gets sick. You are looking at medical and other employment costs involved. Absolutely.
And she goes on to say, I think it is their right. They are not only medical costs, but other employment costs they have to deal with. Renee Sherlin Simmons says, yes, to me, all governments have a hidden agenda regarding this vaccine. They're pushing too hard on it. This education process should have happened at the very beginning. Town hall meetings for the public, not just weekly updates. See, I agree with you in some parts of that. Whether it's a hidden agenda, there's always an agenda. We all have agendas. Whether or not it's hidden, I think that could be a bit extreme. Maybe, sometimes things are right in front of our face, but we don't look beyond the surface. So, no, but I get your point. Janet Maynard, Michaela.
I agree, Michaela. I always had a problem paying high insurance, and folks do not care about their health and how it affects others. They do not.
Yeah, interesting times. Like I said, it'll be something if private companies, because let me just state, private companies can make rules. Private companies can discriminate in some respects. What do I mean by that? There are protected classes, race, gender, name some more, I think sexual orientation. There are protected classes, but private companies can ban you from their establishments.
Yep.
And this is something that they can. So if your favorite grocery store or if all grocery stores in Bermuda said we're no longer allowing unvaccinated people into our establishments, I hope you know how to grow food and catch fish.
Listen, this is the thing. We've seen in the U.S., there have been nurses and doctors who have been fired because they refuse to get vaccinated because the hospitals are like, look, we already are under high demand. We have a shortage of nurses. You don't want to get vaccinated. You get COVID, you get sick, we're screwed. You need to get vaccinated. And those things were appealed to the Supreme Court, who shot it down and said, this is absolutely legal. This is absolutely within your right. So I'm just saying it's happening. Whether you like it or not, it's happening.
Carla John Michaela.
Across Toronto, businesses, colleges, and universities are mandating vaccines for anyone who wants to step on campus. They don't get a vaccine, they have to pay for their own weekly COVID testing. Starts in October. Yep.
It's happening, folks. It is happening. Let's bring Leanna into the conversation. Hi, Lee. Just want to let you know you don't have to be vaccinated. No one has to be vaccinated to appear on the show because we're never in the same room. So
that's great news, then.
We'll definitely let Belvedere know. We don't care. We don't want to know your business. You, Kanjale, tomorrow, you all can come on. We don't have to be in the same room. You are all safe. But definitely interesting conversations going on. In your circles, have you been hearing anything on this, Lee?
In regards to what's going on in the island, not as yet. The only thing we heard and reported that Hamilton Princess was requiring their workers to get tested weekly. So that was something, and they were actually being asked to pay out of their own pocket to get those tests. So
if they weren't vaccinated.
If they weren't vaccinated, yeah. So on island, that's about it that I've come across in regards to, I wouldn't say forcing, but obviously the new world we're living in, this is going to be the new protocols, right? This is, as Kales was saying offline before we came onto the show, like it's happening, like it is slowly rolling out. And yeah, if you're not vaccinated, you definitely might get left behind, right?
Yeah, it's happening. It is happening. Well, Lee, let's get to the news break. Don't forget, after she's done with the news, we'll have a very talented Bermudian on, Alex Belvedere, to discuss his journey as a fashionpreneur. We could say that, fashionpreneur?
Fashion.
Fashionpreneur. Yeah,
Fashion
why not?
Yeah.
stylist and fashionpreneur. Over to you, Lee.
Thanks, Jamala, Michaela, and a very, very good morning to all of those who are tuned in with us. I hope everyone is having a great start to their day. I'm Leanna Lambert, and it's time for our daily hour news break. So here's what's going on in today's top stories. Bermuda College is set to start the academic year using remote learning for at least the first week of their new term because of the threat of industrial action and problems scheduling coronavirus tests. Now, face-to-face teaching, which was scheduled to start next Monday for the first time since the pandemic hit last March, will not go ahead for at least a week. Vice President of Academic and Student Affairs, Phyllis Curtis Tweed, explained that the deadlock between the government and the Bermuda Industrial Union over union decertification votes could result in disruptions that would affect a return to campus. Now, in addition to this, she noted that there are currently difficulties in scheduling COVID tests at the testing facilities. However, the college is actively working to update COVID screening protocols. Students are asked to check their emails and the college website for any updates. In other news, Crime Stoppers are offering a reward of $5,000 for those willing to come forward with information on gun crimes. The charity said that the cash will be paid out for tip-offs that led to arrests, convictions, or seizures of firearms. Now, according to a spokesperson, the rewards were sparked by recent gun activity, including 2 separate shootings on Court Street in Hamilton. Now, they say that 3 people had been murdered and 6 injured this year because of gun violence. Now, the charity had received an increased number of calls and anonymous tip-offs. However, more information is needed to identify who has the guns and who has committed the crimes. No details will be given on the charity's success, but they can report that in their time and the support from the local community, that not one person reporting information has been revealed. Now, for more information or to report a crime, just visit crimestoppers.bm. Boat owners, meanwhile, should be on alert after a series of thefts from moored vessels, police warned yesterday. The alert was sounded after a string of thefts from boats across the island, although Paget has been hit the hardest. Paget, Red Hole, and Foot of the Lane areas were hotspots for boat theft, although the problem was widespread. Now, police say that boat owners should remove valuables from their boats and secure removable items. Also, punch should be secured with a good quality chain and padlock, and owners should also photograph their boats and equipment for record serial numbers and identifying marks to make recovery easy if that theft does happen. And unfortunately, Bermuda will have to sit out yet another year after the International Cricket Council confirmed that the Americas, Asia, and EAP qualifiers to the ICC Under-19's Men Cricket World Cup have been canceled due to COVID-19. Based on guidelines approved by the ICC Development Committee and the ICC Board, the three events unfortunately could not be staged. Now, this is disappointing news for Arnold Manders, the president of the Bermuda Cricket Board and the coach of the Under-19 side of the past 2 years. Bermuda were originally scheduled to face Canada, Argentina, and host United States from August 19th through the 25th. Taking a look at today's weather, we have a high near 87 and a low near 78 degrees. You'll see a mix of sun and clouds throughout the day. By Friday, a trough approaches, shifting winds towards the northwest. The trough passes over the weekend and will bring a few showers. However, it will be a hot and sunny summer day ahead. That's all for our daily hour news break. Let's head back to Jamal and Michaela in the studio for today's Daily Focus.
Thanks so much, Lee. I just want to say about that first story. You were talking about Bermuda College, I think, doing at home. Maybe it's me, but I just don't see that as punishment. But anyway, I'm just saying. I think Michaela agrees at least with me. But
listen, I'm not mad at it, but I am mad at this hot weather. Good Lord. Listen, can we get December? Like,
you know,
forward to Christmas.
I'm an autumn guy, so don't give me pumpkin season, which
we
apparently
don't have autumn in Bermuda. What you talking about? It's just hot and then cool.
I'm talking New England. I need.
But you live in Florida, boo.
But that's my problem.
You'll get that cool breeze. Austin,
someone
hot
took me away.
and cool. It's no in between.
No, it's just hot in Florida. It ain't no cool. Not in these parts. But Lee, thanks so much for that. We'll see you tomorrow.
See you guys tomorrow.
Bye, Lee.
All right, Leanna Lambert there again with the news break. Look, we're gonna take a quick break. We'll be back with Not the Chef. That was his third name.
You're killing me.
Alex Belvedere, designer, and I just like he's great. Hopefully he shares some pictures of his designs. But stick with us. Do not go anywhere.
Mom's celebrating her 70th birthday next month. Have you noticed her age is catching up with her?
Yeah. Plus, she's having a hard time getting up and around like she's used to. I would sure hate to see her fall.
At Medical House Limited, we can help make life situations easier. We have electric beds, motorized scooters, bath stools, walkers, you name it.
Mom's been real good to us. We'll get her birthday and Christmas gifts from Medical House.
Medical House has relocated next to the Dendy Town Field. Number 6 Bakery Lane, Pembroke. Telephone 292-3622.
We're welcoming back the often featured Whole Food veterans Bragg Live Food Products, renowned for their live probiotic organic raw cider vinegar and savory seasonings. Paul Bragg is the man behind the products and has originated health food stores, restaurants, and spas, and promoted nutrition education through the media, helping lay the foundation for the enlightened way we make healthful choices when we shop for and prepare food. This month we're featuring Bragg Organic Raw and Unfiltered Apple Cider Vinegar and Organic Extra Virgin Olive Oil. Lindo's, why go anyplace else?
All right, welcome back to the big show. She's the Michaela Ian. I'm Jamel Hartman. It's the Daily Hour brought to you by Medical House One Communications and Lindo's. And thank you so much to everyone who's tuned in. I just want to say, if you haven't already, just make sure you go to our YouTube page and subscribe. Make sure you subscribe. Actually, you know what I'm going to do before we bring Mr. Belvedere in? I'm going to share the link so you all can get in the habit of watching.
Yes, subscribe. Yes.
So, I've just shared in the comments. Just click that link, go over to YouTube. You can watch the show. You can still comment on YouTube as well, but make sure you subscribe over on YouTube. Also, you can watch the show on our website, thedailyhour.com. All right, thedailyhour.com. Very easy. Without further ado, let's bring in our guest for the day, designer, fashionpreneur, Alex Belvedere of Triangle Sports. Welcome to the show, buddy.
Morning. How you guys doing?
Morning. How are you?
I'm good.
Well, first off, I just want to highlight, because the show isn't about this, but
Right.
we need it. We need to clarify. Not the chef is because you have brothers, and people kind of think you're all one. So I just want to make that clear that this is Alex Belvedere. He is the one behind the jerseys that you see, and we're going to get into that, right?
Yes.
All right. Look, Bermuda's small, man. We got to make
like 5 times. Hey. Everybody knows he's not Toto.
You have no idea.
No, he still has to say it.
When I got tagged in that video the other day, I was like, what did I do this time? But thankfully it was my other brother that nobody even knew existed. So now everybody knows there's 3 of us. Yeah.
Hey man,
he's low key, and it's hard to do that in Bermuda. So I applaud him for being able to fly.
This is so weird because I always knew there were 3, so I'm confused. But okay.
Yeah. I didn't. So are you a twin, or
I'm the oldest, and then Michael and Antonio are the twins.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
Cool, man. Well, look, honestly, we're thankful to have you.
I appreciate it.
I love to share and retweet your stuff, and let's just get right into the conversation. So, just for those who aren't aware, give us a bit about your background and about yourself and your business.
Okay, so I want to say probably about 5 years ago, Adidas did this thing where I think they put it out to the public and the fans to create some concepts for third kits for their favorite clubs. And it really took to me. Like, I was kind of interested in it. I followed the competition and stuff like that. And then I got the Milan kit, and I realized that everything's pretty much sublimated. So I did some research into it, and started figuring out how to design things, how to get templates. I went to YouTube University, like a lot of Bermudians do when they try to get themselves in the door somewhere, or people worldwide. And I did a couple of little test kits, brought them in, and they sold really well. So I started getting down the path of reaching out to clubs, trying to get into the door with them. And as they say, the rest is history.
Yeah, I just want to touch on YouTube University, because I speak about it all the time. And
Yeah.
It's one of the most helpful tools for anyone out there looking to learn something new or grow a business. Okay?
Yeah.
Absolutely. So let's talk about like the designing. How did you actually start designing and supplying kits?
So I got some templates. There's this website that creates templates for everybody, and you just purchase the licensing rights to it.
Mm-hmm.
And then I use Pinterest a lot for, I guess you would say, motivation.
Yeah.
And to get, patterns, colors, so on and so forth. And then I went ahead and reached out to a couple of manufacturers in the States, and then realized what the price point was like. So if anybody doesn't know, it's really easy to go online and find places, as long as you're willing to do the research, that can fit into your price point. Now, the problem with being in Bermuda is we're such a small country, and the minimum order quantities, usually the prices will be cheaper depending on how many things you order.
Right.
So obviously with us, a lot of clubs, they might have a maximum fan capacity of like 1,000 or 500. So to order jerseys, like to sell to fans and stuff in that rate, it brings the price up a little bit. But if you're willing to work it out and, try and work with the clubs and stuff like that, it definitely makes it worth the while. So I reached out to a couple of different manufacturers in China, and that's essentially how we do it. So it takes about 4 weeks from when, we place the order to when it all gets manufactured. And essentially I do all the designs here locally, send them to the clubs, they okay it, their sponsors okay it, and then I send it off to the manufacturer. And then the lovely people at DHL bring it here for me really quickly.
Is that sarcasm?
No, sorry. They actually are really, really good. But as long as you do everything that you're supposed to do for DHL before it gets here, you get it quickly.
Okay.
If you don't have your custom shredder ID and all that stuff, it gets a bit confusing. But
absolutely. So tell us about the various teams that your company creates these jerseys for.
Sure. So I've done, up to this point, I started with Robin Hood. I've taken on Southampton Rangers. I did some jerseys for Boulevard, Tough Dogs. I do jerseys for Fat Tire Massive, which is the group that does all of the mountain bike racing on Ireland. So I've been doing their jerseys for about 2 years. I do jerseys for a commercial cricket club called The Wickedest, which are probably one of my favorite jerseys. And then I also, funnily enough, did some jerseys for Extreme Frisbee, which I didn't even know was a thing. But I appreciate everybody that I have done stuff for up to this point. I actually just took on Wolves, so I'll be doing their jerseys for this season. And I did some jerseys for Rangers last year, and I think we got them the first week of December, and unfortunately the league stopped the last week of November last year.
Right.
So what would have been new jerseys from last season, we'll just have them looking good for this year, thankfully.
So tell us about what that process looks like. So do you come with them with design ideas? Are you like kind of remixing or revamping what they already have? Like what does that look like? What's the creative process?
So what they do is normally I get reached out to, by word of mouth or through a friend that's at a club who says, hey, look, we're looking to get some new jerseys. Can you put something together for us? So I'll take that. I'll do some research on them. I have a couple of books. One by a guy named Stephen Forbes, which is called When Soccer Was Football. And that actually has a lot of pictures from the 70s and 80s of the local game. So I use that for inspiration as far as color, colorways and stuff like that. put some designs together. I try to do more of like the outside the box type of designs versus you know, your traditional just like pinstripes or stuff like that. Like I'll put a pattern into the pinstripes. And then yeah, so I go back to them with that, work on things. You know, if anybody's ever done any type of designing, it's never the first copy that anybody likes.
Of course.
So, you know, you'll do one thing, you'll send it to them. Oh, can we change this? Can we change that? So on and so forth. And, you know, we just keep going through it. And sometimes it takes a couple of days. Sometimes it might take a week. I mean, people are picky sometimes, but at the end of the day, the customer's always right. And I want it to be on point. I do everything bespoke though. So essentially if what I do for, you know, a pattern for Robin Hood or for Rangers, so on and so forth, I'll never replicate that design. One thing I hate is like the bigger brands like Adidas and Nike and stuff, they all do a template for the season. So if you watch the Premier League, you'll see all the Adidas goalkeepers last year had a camo design. It was just different colors depending on their club.
Right.
So I try to make it different because, you know, you want to be creative, but you also don't want everybody to look the same and it's just copy and paste. But yeah, like I said before, I do take some inspiration from Pinterest. I don't take inspiration the way that like Off-White does, where they'll take the whole design and just change 3%. And they actually just got in trouble for that. I was reading an article yesterday, and there's a company that is taking them, that is suing them right now because they literally took their whole design and just changed a couple of buttons or something like that. Yeah, I mean, Off-White has always been a crazy thing to me. I've liked it, but it's always weird that they literally just take what is already in the public and change a little bit and then quadruple the price of something.
Right.
But yeah, I mean, it's interesting and it's fun to be able to experiment with different designs and, you know, colors and stuff. Like for Rangers this year, this this lime green jersey that I have for them, that's never been a color for them, but it has the blue in it as well. You know what I mean? So it's kind of, they allow me to think outside the box. They allow me to do different things. And that's definitely what I appreciate.
That sounds like a dream job, honestly. Lots of fun. So what are some of the challenges that you've encountered during your journey as both a designer and an entrepreneur?
I'll share a story with you guys. So my biggest challenge ever. Jamel, you ever driven from Miami to Atlanta?
I don't do drives longer than 1 hour, but
same.
So I haven't.
Okay. So 2 years ago, I put on the All-Star game, and I did a Premier League West versus East, and then a First Division versus a Corona League team, and I ordered the jerseys for it. So there was some delay in the jerseys. They didn't have the fabric, you know, so on and so forth, as we always run into a little bit of issues here and there. And the All-Star game was on Easter weekend. So on the Monday before then, I got an email saying that I'll be receiving them on the Friday. So obviously the Friday is Good Friday. DHL is not open on Good Friday. DHL is not open on Saturdays. So I had to make the decision to get them sent to a friend of mine in Miami and get on a plane and fly to Miami. So I get to Miami. They don't come before my plane's supposed to leave. So I get on, you know, I go to the airport. I rearrange my tickets to fly through Atlanta to Bermuda. And the flight gets canceled because Florida's notorious for lightning. So then I have to get in a car and drive to Atlanta at 2 o'clock in the morning.
Wow.
Yeah. So I got to Atlanta 15 minutes after the flight took off. Needless to say, I didn't make it back in time for the All-Star game or the event. And I was sitting in a hotel room at the Atlanta airport with all of the jerseys.
Jesus.
Yeah. But thankfully I have a really good support team, and I wouldn't, you know, they're not even people that work for me. They're just really good friends of mine. And I was able to, thankfully, with the with technology, the way it is now, I was able to quarterback it from the hotel room through WhatsApp. And the event went off pretty well. Now, unfortunately, ever since then, we haven't finished the football season because we've had 2 years of COVID. So I'm looking forward to actually doing it this year and us getting through the season this year. And definitely going to have everything probably a month ahead of time this year. So I definitely learned a lesson.
Wow.
Absolutely.
That's challenging. My goodness.
That was like,
wow.
Yeah.
Yeah. But when you love what you do, when you're passionate, when you put the work in, those are the lengths you go. And sometimes it's those stories that make the journey even better, you know?
Yeah, no, definitely. And I mean, it really shows whether you really want to do this or not.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? You get moments in your journey where you're like, okay, cool. Like I went through speed bumps, but at the end of the day, you came out and you learned your lessons. And as long as you learn lessons and actually remember what you went through, then that's what life's about, right? Is learning something and growing from it.
Absolutely. So talk to us about how you ended up designing and creating the jerseys for the Bermuda referees who just flew out the other week.
So Cranston is the VP of the BFA, and he's really a big supporter of mine. I'm the vice president of Robin Hood, so we have a working relationship through the BFA already. And he reached out to me and he was like, look, he said, Belvedere, I need something special. I need something that stands out. And that's just, that's just how Cranston is, if you know Cranston. So I was like, all right, cool. So, I did some designs, sent it to him. He was like, yeah, they're not loud enough. I said, all right, cool. So I put some more designs together, sent them to him. The lime green, they have a lime green warm up top. And then they have these black with the lime green polo shirts. So the polo shirts were supposed to be more of a academy type vibe. So they started bringing in referees and training them up and trying to get them FIFA certified, get them out there. And he's done really, really well with it. So I, put this together for them. They've been using the training tops when they do their beach workouts. And then now that they've gone away, I think it was Randy, Stefan, and I can't remember the girl's name. My apologies. But yeah, so they've gone away now to do some CFU games for the, I believe it's the under 14s. And then, Cranston's reached out to me again now because they've had more interest from people, which is good because, one thing that is difficult to get on this island is referees when it comes to football games.
Yeah.
They get a lot of abuse, unfortunately. And sometimes I don't think the paycheck's worth it, but they love it. You know what I mean? They love the game and they do what they need to do. And I love working with people that have the same passion.
Yeah.
Absolutely. So what's next for Triangle Sports? What do you got in the pipeline?
So I worked on the Wolves jerseys. I've got them actually on the way. I just confirmed them this morning. So there should be here within the next 3 or 4 weeks. I've done some new designs for Robin Hood, and they should be here probably within the next month. Myself and On Track have done a lot of work together in the past. We did a jersey in November for breast cancer, and it was a pink jersey. Let me just snatch it. So we did this jersey, and we did part proceeds to Bermuda Cancer and Health.
Nice.
Yeah, and it went really well. I mean, I think we sold about 100 of them.
Okay.
Which, I mean, for a small community, it's not too bad. And we actually got this new jersey that I'm wearing is coming out. I think by the weekend we'll have it released for pre-purchase. And then I'm working on a couple of different things. So what I want to do more now is get into the street fashion side of it. So I'm going to start doing my own designs with, my own crest and stuff like that. And I've actually been speaking with Frankie Brewster at Pro Shop, and we're going to be looking to put those in there as well as selling them online.
Okay.
Nice.
We have a comment. This is interesting. Monica Dunstan started PE kits, and I know Michaela asked what's up next. You just said streetwear.
Right.
I didn't know about the On Track thing, but that is just a great concept, and you've given me some ideas that we can probably do with the Daily Hour. But what does it feel like as an entrepreneur, as a designer? Because I know some people get discouraged so easily, but what does it feel like knowing that you can have 2 football teams out there on a Sunday and they're wearing your designs? This is your work. What pride does it give you?
It's a funny feeling. So I actually did jerseys for the Muay Thai kickboxing as well. And the other night I was at 24 Hour and Buzz, and this guy walked in with the shirt. And you think after like 4 or 5 years of doing it, it'd just be nothing, right? But you still kind of smile and you're like, oh, look at that. I'm done that. Or, it's something that people are wearing and they actually enjoy wearing it. The first time I got to actually see two clubs wearing my kits at the same time was 2 seasons ago when Robin Hood and Rangers played each other. And it was definitely exciting. For me, I'm more of the humble Belvedere. So, you know, people come up to me and they're like, oh, you know, your stuff's wicked, you know, keep going, blah, 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 blah. And it's always like, oh, yeah, you know, thanks. Like, I'm not easy with compliments. It's hard for me to take compliments. But it gives you butterflies sometimes still, you know what I mean? And that's what keeps you going. Because I feel if you see your stuff and you don't feel anything about it, then there's no point in doing it.
Yeah,
absolutely.
Okay, so one of the things Bermudians are famous for doing, and just sports fans, is buying jerseys of their teams.
Right.
I know you mentioned Frankie Brewster at Pro Shop. Is there any opportunity, like what kind of deals do you have with the clubs where you can possibly, like, there are certain clubs that I would never support. You know, I'm a village guy. But if I
That's
see...
shame.
Wow. We were boys now about that. But, let's say Robin Hood. Let's say Robin Hood's got a nice jersey. I want to purchase it. Are there opportunities to purchase these local jerseys anywhere?
So this is interesting. There was actually a thread the other day on Twitter about it. I don't know if you saw it. Gentleman, Mr. Crockwell, had put it out there. He had a client on Ireland that was looking to purchase local football team jerseys, and he put a call out there to see who can help. And unfortunately, a lot of clubs don't really get into the whole selling of jerseys to the fans, even though it's the easiest stream of revenue that I could think of. Like, the reason why I even got into this in the beginning was because I got tired of going to like a village game or a PAC game and seeing, you know, at village games, people are wearing Liverpool jerseys just because they're red, or PAC games, they're wearing Juventus jerseys just because they're black and white striped. So what I intended initially was to just bridge the gap between them and do designs in the club colorways where people could wear something that was Bermudian but still related to their club. Now, one thing a lot of clubs haven't done here yet, and I've actually been trying to help some with it, is licensing their logos. I feel if you license your logos and your slogans, money comes in hand over fist. If you look at it in the States, Jamal, you got Fanatics. Fanatics sells all the officially licensed merchandise for all of the professional teams because they already got, you know, the logos, trademark, licensed, everything. And then you sell the licensing agreement to companies and they can make your little, you know, t-shirts or hoodies that say Village on it or Red Army or what have you. And then the club gets a percentage of it. So that's the way that I want to move forward. I want to, you know, start sponsoring the actual jerseys for clubs and then, you know, selling the jerseys and giving them a percentage, similar to how like the Nike and PSG thing was working the other day. Like if you saw that they sold, I think they said 800,000 Messi jerseys in the first day. Nike made $105 million, and I think PSG got 10 million from it, or 10.5 million from it. And then Michael Jordan himself actually got 6 million just because the Jumpman logo is on it. Wow. So yeah. So I want to get to a point where I can start offering that to clubs and, you know, pay for the whole kit myself and then turn around and give them a percentage of the sales.
Yeah, I love it. Look, and I want to go back to the comment we just shared on screen. But before we, I'm thinking if I'm the president of Somerset or president of St. George's, and we've had these conversations, I'm like, I would be on the phone with you saying, look, let's get this guy, make our jerseys for Cot Match exclusive. Yeah. Let's have the fans sign up. But that's just me thinking out loud. I want to address this.
That's smart.
Well, yeah, I mean, and I'm not known for being the smart one on the show, folks. But Luis Pereira says Alex's Bermuda's national team concept should be what the team wears, not what they're wearing now. Can't see the names on the back. Well, that said, I know there were a lot of complaints about that. Yes. We would love to see a Bermudian producing jerseys. How would you, like, is there any talks? Is there any, like, avenue for you to get into that conversation?
So that would be the next step after I start doing the clubs. The way that SCORE and the BFA relationship works, from what I'm aware of, is that SCORE essentially sponsors, you know, 300 sets of jerseys, 150 sets of tracksuits, all the polo shirts for the BFA staff, etc. And then they sell the jerseys and the BFA got a cut of what the jersey sale looks like. So that would be a grander scale for me and a scale that I'm working towards. Now, I did a concept 3 years ago, and I put it on Twitter, and it just flitted around. No one really paid any attention to it until the day that the BFA dropped the what they call it, the bus jerseys. The first time that the pink and blue jerseys were released. And somebody took the concept that I had put on Twitter and retweeted it and said, I thought this is what they were going to launch today. And unbeknownst to me, I had my phone in my pocket, whatever, going about my business at work. And the next thing I knew, I looked at my phone and it blew up, and it was like 100 likes, 50 retweets, comments from this person, that person, so on and so forth. And it just went like wildfire. So I got a phone call from the BFA about that. And, we talked about it, and I told him, I said, I didn't actually put it out there. I put it out there months ago, whatever. But we are working on, I want to work on getting a relationship with them where I can get the national team or, some part of the program, even if I just do like the jerseys for, when they come off the bus at a stadium type of thing, like something where I can get in, even if it's just a leisure wear for now, and then build a relationship with them. But, with doing the referees, that was a step in the door because that was for the actual BFA as well.
Alrighty. And real quickly, you've answered most of the questions. Obviously, some people have tuned in late, but not sure if you want to share your secrets. Mark Arthur C. Phillips is asking, what apps do you use to design your jerseys?
Photoshop.
Okay.
Yeah.
And Elmore Warren is asking, what has made you stand out in this space? What makes your designs unique?
I think he already answered that.
He answered everything that's coming through now, including Cotton Match Gear for players, and then Shonette Bell. And I'll just answer this. He asking, are you focused on just football or things like cricket? And I think you've spoken about the commercial cricket team and other stuff you did. So folks, you can definitely rewatch, but he's definitely in many spaces. That said, before we let you go, as time's up, just let people know where can they get in touch? How can they get in touch with you, and where can they find a lot of your work?
So majority of my work is on my Instagram page, and that is on _ Triangle Sports _ because somebody has Triangle Sports and they haven't used it in 5 years. Same thing on Twitter and Facebook. I try to make all of my socials the same. So yeah, I have a lot of the stuff on there, and then I also have Behance, which is more of a designer's type of app. But if anybody's into that, it's the same. It's Triangle Sports directly on Behance.
Alrighty, and I can't thank you enough for trusting the platform to come on, and
I appreciate it.
Supporting you. We may have to get some Daily Hour jerseys. I think
Sure.
Sean had one question. I think I want to go to our question because it was basically asking, do you do small orders like 2 to 4 pieces?
My minimum order is 5.
5. Okay.
But I can do 4 because I like to keep one in my office.
Oh, so you could do like custom stuff for like birthday parties,
Sure.
events, etc.
Yeah,
Oh,
I can do
perfect.
birthday
Okay,
parties,
good.
anything like that. Yeah.
Okay.
All right. Mr.
All
Triangle Sports, Alex Belvedere, thanks so
Thank you,
much.
sir.
And we'll be in touch, my friend.
Yes, sir. You guys have a good day.
You too.
You too. Thank
All right.
you.
Thanks.
Alrighty, if you enjoyed that conversation with fashionpreneur designer Alex Belvedere, you know what to do. Give us a thumbs up, a love, a like. Make sure that Bermudians share his story and his journey, because this is a gentleman that's making the most of a situation in a small country like Bermuda. And as we've heard, doing business in Bermuda with bulks are not as great. It's a bit difficult, but he is making some inroads, and I really hope that we show him some love. So like I said, give him a thumbs up, a love, a like. We're going to take a quick break. We'll be back as we stump Michaela.
No.
Same smooth sounds, different name. BCG Radio. Tune in every Tuesday through Sunday at 7 p.m. Bermuda time as we bring you the love, romance, sexiness with nighttime jams. Only on your station for conversations and entertainment, BCG Radio. Download the app, available for Android and Apple devices.
All right, welcome back to the big show. Thanks again to One Communications, Linda's Medicals, all of our sponsors, and thanks to today's guest, Alex Belvedere of Triangle Sports, for trusting our platform to come on for the conversation. Michaela, it's time for the Daily Play.
Let's go.
All right, time for the Daily Play, brought to you by Heineken 0.0. Great taste, no alcohol. Michaela, are you ready?
She ready.
All right, let me see your hands. All right, hands in the air. All right. Name that place today. Help her out, folks. You know how it goes. If you get the answer before she does, you get something too. Name the city and country that FIFA, Federation International de Football Association, is headquartered in.
I don't like you today. It's in Europe. I know that. Switzerland?
The city and the country.
Geneva?
You got the country right.
I don't know the city. Zurich?
Wow, she got it, folks. She got it. She got it. She got it. She got it.
I don't know why you keep doubting me. Like, listen, I know the things, okay?
She got it. So FIFA was established in Paris in 1904, but moved to Zurich in 1932 because of Switzerland's location in the center of Europe. Its political neutrality, and because it was accessible by train. So Zurich, Switzerland is where the headquarters of the world's game is, and we're going to give it, wow. Yes, it is a big smile when I get it wrong, because I'm like, man, I finally got it, you know, but it's just a tough one. She's a tough one. Any final thoughts on today's show, Kels?
Today, I love this conversation. I mean, like we talked about last night, I'm like over the vaccine conversation. I just feel like we just keep talking about it. But it's also worthwhile and necessary conversation because I just feel like if you choose not to get vaccinated, I'm not saying those who have medical reasons, obviously, but like if you make a conscious choice not to do it, I just feel like you're going to get left behind. And can we actually afford to get left behind when you live on a 21-mile square rock in the middle of the Atlantic? I also love the conversation with Alex. I love what he's doing. It's incredible. Hopefully he can start selling some club merch because my son plays for Robin Hood youth team. So mama needs a jersey.
No, I agree. I mean, I've said it a couple months ago that I don't want to talk about the vaccine and COVID as much as we do, but as one of our partners said, unfortunately, that's what you have to do. So, hopefully the conversation changes things. As I stated, it's going to be interesting to see how Bermuda continues to respond to what's happening in the U.S. and the rest of the world. So our eyes are strongly on that. As far as the conversation with our guest today, Alessandro Belvedere, I appreciate him. I support him. And I actually would love to purchase a jersey that he designed. So hopefully we can have access to them one day, and he can get those partnerships with the clubs going. So I think he's an inspiration. He's entering a space that Bermudians have not traditionally been in.
Yeah.
And it can only go up from here. So he mentioned Frisbee. He mentioned cricket, football, the referees. So he's
Muay Thai.
Some inroads outside of football, folks. So let's support him. You got some inspiration for us today, right, Kels?
I sure do. This is what I live by. This is what I live by. This is from the lovely Nina Simone. You've got to learn to leave the table when love's no longer being served.
Oh, I love that one. Yes. Yeah, know when to leave. You know what they say? Muhammad Ali, what they say? He was the greatest, but he still stayed around too long.
Yep.
On that note, thanks again to our partners, Medical House, One Communications, and Linda's, for ensuring that we're able to do this with you on a daily basis. As always, we appreciate you, we love you, and we thank you so much for making us part of your daily routine. If all goes well, we'll be back to this again with you tomorrow, She's Michaela Ian. I'm Jamel Hartman. My friends, do make it a great day. Peace.
Deuces.